The cold void of space stretched forever. Stars burned in silence, distant and uncaring. Among the blackness drifted a broken escape pod, metal torn and scarred. Its lights flickered weakly, struggling to stay alive. Inside lay a single human, motionless, pale, and barely breathing. The alien patrol ship almost missed it. Their scanners had not detected life at first, but the commander, a tall alien with deep silver eyes, ordered a closer look. The crew hesitated, nervous, for the sight of a human was nothing but a myth to them. Stories whispered that humanity had been destroyed long ago, erased by the great wars. "Bring it aboard," the commander said, his voice calm but heavy. The crew obeyed, though fear flickered in their eyes. The escape pod was dragged into the hangar, its hull still glowing from old battles. The pod opened with a hiss, releasing the stale air of centuries. And there he was, a human, scarred, wounded, yet alive. The medics rushed forward, scanning his broken body. His heartbeat was weak but steady, like a drum refusing to stop. Strange marks covered his skin, burns, cuts, and signs of deep suffering. The alien crew whispered among themselves, unsure if saving him was wise. "Why protect a creature from a dead species?" one asked in fear. "Because he is alive," the commander replied, firm and unshaken. The human was carried to the infirmary, placed under glowing medical lights. Machines hummed, strange fluids ran through tubes. His chest rose and fell slowly, stubbornly refusing to surrender to death. Hours passed, the crew watching from behind glass. Finally, his eyes moved, twitching under heavy lids. He awoke, confused, his gaze darting across the room. The aliens froze, staring at him as though a ghost had risen. He opened cracked lips, whispering something faint. The translator struggled, repeating the sound into their language. One word, E. Chewed through the room. Home. The crew shivered, unsettled by the word. For them, Earth was a forgotten place, nothing more than dust and memory. But this survivor spoke of it as if it still lived. The commander leaned closer, studying the human. There was strength in those tired eyes, fire hidden beneath weakness. As days passed, the human began to recover slowly. He ate little, drank carefully, and spoke few words. But each word carried weight as though carved in stone. He told them fragments of war, of betrayal, of humanity's fall. He spoke of enemies that came with fire and silence. He spoke of a last battle, a desperate escape, a pod drifting into endless night. The aliens listened in silence, their fear growing. For this human carried not only scars, but secrets. His blood showed strange changes, traces of engineered strength. The medics whispered of hidden technology inside him, something more than flesh, something designed to endure. The commander kept his presence secret from other ships. He knew the galaxy would not forgive him for saving a human. For even in legend, humans were feared more than loved. They were said to be unstoppable, dangerous, and merciless in war. To shelter one was to risk the wrath of many empires. Yet when he looked at the survivor, the commander saw something different. Not just a warrior, not just a ghost of a dead species, but a symbol, fragile yet unbroken. The alien crew argued late into the night. Some demanded the human be handed over to the council. Others whispered he should be destroyed before more trouble came. The commander silenced them with a single command. "No one touches him," he declared, his voice sharp as steel. "He is under my protection." That night, while the ship drifted in the shadow of a dead star, the human stirred in his sleep. Sweat glistened on his skin, his body tense. He dreamed of fire, of war, of burning skies. He whispered words that made the aliens uneasy. "If I survived," he breathed, barely audible, "then more will come." The commander heard those words and felt his heart tighten. He looked out at the stars, vast and endless, and for the first time in many years, he wondered if the galaxy was ready for what those words meant. The lost human had been rescued, but with him came a shadow, a promise, and a warning. The age of humanity was not over. It was only sleeping, and now it had begun to wake. The alien ship floated in the silent dark, carrying a secret heavier than any treasure. One human survivor resting in their infirmary was enough to shake the balance of the galaxy. The crew moved quietly, as if afraid the stars themselves might hear. Every glance toward the human was filled with both fear and curiosity. They had saved him, but none of them truly understood what that choice meant. The human recovered slowly, his body still weak yet his eyes sharper each day. He sat up for the first time, watching the alien crew with calm intensity. His silence was heavier than words. Even when he spoke, it was only fragments, small pieces of a much larger puzzle. "I was not the last," he whispered one evening, his voice low but certain. Those words spread through the ship like fire. The medics, the soldiers, even the engineers repeated them in hushed tones. If humanity was not extinct, then where were they hiding? And why had they not revealed themselves for centuries? The galaxy had believed humans were gone, crushed in the final wars. But this one survivor's words tore open that belief. The commander questioned him carefully, his silver eyes steady. "Where are the others?" he asked, his tone sharp but not unkind. The human only smiled faintly, shaking his head. "You'll see," he replied, leaving more fear than comfort. Meanwhile, rumors began to leak. A patrol ship had reported unusual signals near the dead star. Other empires picked up whispers of the human. Small mentions, uncertain at found. Eerst, but enough to stir panic. If one had survived, could an army still exist, waiting to rise again? In the council chambers of distant empires, debates grew loud and violent. Some demanded immediate action to destroy the survivor before his kind returned. Others warned that to attack him might awaken something even worse. But across the galaxy, old scars burned fresh. Memories of humanity's last war were still alive in history and blood. Empires remembered the unstoppable fleets, the battles that shattered worlds. They remembered that humans fought like no other, refusing to surrender until the very end. Back aboard the alien ship, tension grew. The crew no longer trusted the silence of the void. They checked scanners constantly, fearing shadows moving in the dark. The human spent hours repairing a small device taken from his escape pod. The commander asked him what it was. "Just a beacon," the human replied softly, "but not for me." The aliens felt a chill run through their bones. A beacon meant a signal, a message to someone or something. The commander ordered the device locked away. But that night, he found the human working on it again, his hands steady, his expression determined. "You should not do this," the commander warned. The human looked up with tired but burning eyes. "You saved me," he said. "And now, I will save you." Elsewhere across the void, enemy fleets stirred. A warlord of the Kethar Dominion slammed his claws against the table. "No human must be allowed to rise again," he growled. "They burned our worlds once. We will not give them the chance a second time." His generals nodded, preparing their armadas. Already ships were leaving docks, moving toward the sector of the lost human. The alien crew did not know this yet. They only felt a strange pressure in the air, as if something enormous was drawing closer. The human walked the corridors. Now, his body stronger, crew members avoided his gaze, as if he carried the weight of ghosts. Yet a few felt drawn to him, sensing a strange warmth in his presence. He was no longer just a patient, but something more, a symbol. Late one night, in the silence of the infirmary, the human stared at the ceiling, whispering to himself, "If I survived, then they will hear me." The commander entered quietly, hearing his words. "Who will hear you?" he asked. The human's lips curled into a faint smile. "My people," he answered, "my family among the stars." The commander felt unease twist in his chest, for if humanity truly lived, then the galaxy itself would soon change. He looked out the window into the endless black, and for the first time, he feared not the void, but the sound it might one day carry, the sound of human war drums returning after centuries of silence. The beacon pulsed faintly in the corner, its light soft but insistent. Each beat was a heartbeat, a call across the void. And somewhere, far beyond what their scanners could reach, something vast and hidden stirred awake. The galaxy did not know it yet, but the rescue of one lost human had already set fire to destiny, and the silence of the stars was about to end. The galaxy was restless. Rumors spread like fire across trading stations and military outposts. A human had been found, a survivor from a race believed destroyed. No proof had been shown, but whispers were enough to stir panic. Every empire remembered the wars of old. Every ruler feared the return of the species that once challenged them all. The alien commander kept his ship hidden in the shadow of dead stars. Inside, the rescued human grew stronger with each passing day. He walked now with steady steps, his eyes sharp and searching. The crew watched him carefully, a mix of awe and dread in their hearts. For each time he spoke, it was with certainty, as if he knew truths beyond them. "You think I am only one," he said one evening in the mess hall, "but one is enough to bring them back." The words chilled the crew. They had no idea if he meant hope or destruction. Meanwhile, far away, fleets were moving. The Cathar Dominion was first to act, sending thousands of warships. Their leaders swore that the galaxy would never again face human strength. To them, even the idea of a survivor was too dangerous. Better to erase the spark before it became a fire. Other empires hesitated, torn between fear and caution. The Vayari alliance debated endlessly. Some said to seek peace, others said to strike first, but all agreed on one thing: the galaxy could not ignore the whispers of humanity's return. Back on the commander's ship, the human worked on the beacon. Its light pulsed faintly, each glow like a heartbeat. The commander tried to stop him but failed each time. "You are calling something we do not understand," the commander warned. The human only replied, "You will understand soon." Strange things began to happen. Sensors picked up shadows in deep space. Unmarked ships flickered at the edge of scans, vanishing before they could be tracked. The crew grew restless, certain they were being hunted. Every corner of the ship felt heavy, as if unseen eyes watched them. One night, alarms blared across the vessel. A small fleet of Cathar warships had found them. The crew panicked, rushing to battle stations. The commander stood firm, ordering silence. The human, calm and unshaken, walked to the viewing window. "They came quicker than I expected," he murmured. The enemy demanded the human be surrendered. "Give him to us or face destruction," their warlord's voice roared over the comms. The crew looked to their commander, fear in every eye. To defy the Cathar meant certain death, but the commander did not answer. He turned instead to the human, waiting. The human spoke softly, but his words carried weight. "If you give me to them, they will kill me. And then, when my people return, they will kill you too, but if you stand with me, you will live to see something the galaxy has forgotten." The commander hesitated, then made his choice. He ordered the ship's weapons powered, shields raised. The crew gasped, knowing they were now at war. The human placed his hand on the beacon, pressing a final sequence. It glowed brighter, pulsing with steady rhythm. A signal raced into the void, carried on frequencies older than empires. The Cathar ships opened fire. Explosions rocked the alien vessel. Lights flickered. Alarms screamed. The crew fought desperately, returning fire with every weapon they had. But the enemy was stronger, more numerous. The ship shook under heavy bombardment. Panels burst. Sparks flew. The human stood tall in the chaos, his eyes fixed on the beacon's light. "Hold the line," he said calmly. "They are coming." The words echoed through the ship. Some crew felt terror. Others felt strange hope. The commander stared at the human, wondering if he was mad or a prophet. Outside, the battle grew worse. The alien vessel was seconds away from collapse. And then, suddenly, the enemy ships froze. Not by choice, but by fear, for their sensors screamed warnings. Something massive was entering the system. Something vast, hidden, and impossibly powerful. On the horizon of the dead star, lights appeared. One by one, shadows emerged, ships unlike anything seen in centuries, sleek, colossal, armed with weapons that glowed like suns, human warships. The crew gasped in disbelief. The commander whispered under his breath. They were never gone. The lone human smiled, his face calm in the storm of fire. "I told you," he said, "one is enough to bring them back." The Cathar fleet broke, panic spreading through their ranks. They had come to erase a single survivor. Instead, they had awakened the storm. The battlefield was frozen. The alien crew stared out the viewing window, their hearts pounding. Enemy fire had stopped, not because of mercy, but because of fear. Across the horizon of the dead star, colossal shadows emerged from the dark. The galaxy had not seen such ships in centuries. Human warships. They came in silence, their engines glowing with power too advanced for scanners to measure. Their hulls were black as night, yet streaked with lines of silver light. They were not fleets built for survival, but for dominance. Each ship was a titan, bristling with weapons that hummed with restrained violence. The alien crew felt the weight of history pressing on them. This was no myth, no story. Humanity had returned. The Cathar warlord screamed orders, panic breaking through his rage. "Destroy them before they rise," he shouted. But even his own generals hesitated. They remembered the last war, the firestorms that burned their homeworlds. They remembered human fleets tearing through armadas twice their size. The old fear had returned, sharper than ever. On the alien vessel, the rescued human stood tall, his beacon still pulsing faintly in the corner. "They heard me," he whispered, his voice steady. The commander turned toward him, his silver eyes wide. "You knew," he said slowly. "You knew they would come." The human's lips curved into a faint smile. "They never left." The first human warship fired. It was not a warning shot. A beam of pure white energy ripped through the void, slicing an enemy cruiser in half. The explosion lit up the dead star's horizon. The battle had begun. The Cathar ships fought back, unleashing torrents of plasma and missiles. But the human armada moved with terrifying precision. Their ships did not waste a single strike. Every shot found its mark. Every maneuver was perfect. It was as if they had been waiting for this day, waiting for centuries. The alien crew clung to their stations. Their ships shook as stray blasts tore through space, but their eyes never left the humans. They watched in awe as legends walked again among the stars. "The commander whispered to himself, "This is power beyond empires." The human survivor stood calm, as though none of it surprised him. He spoke to the crew softly. "You saved one life, and now you see the truth. Humanity was never gone. We hid, we rebuilt, we became something unstoppable." Across the galaxy, news traveled faster than light. Signals raced through hidden networks. Every empire received the same terrifying message. Humanity lived, and they had returned. The Vayari council chambers fell silent as the report played. One elder dropped her staff in shock. "Their extinction was a lie," she whispered. In the Cathar dominion, rage and fear collided. The warlord slammed his fists, but even he trembled. He had unleashed a storm greater than he could control. Back at the battlefield, the Cathar fleet broke under the human assault. Ships scattered, some destroyed, others fleeing blindly into the void. The alien crew's vessel drifted between giants. Human warships passed them but did not attack. Instead, one opened a channel. A voice, calm but powerful, filled the bridge. "This is the fleet of humanity," it said. "Who are you that carries our brother?" The commander stepped forward, his voice shaking but proud. "I am the one who rescued him," he replied. There was a pause, long and heavy. Then the human voice spoke again. "Then you are under our protection." The crew gasped. Protection from humanity was a gift and a warning. It meant safety, but it also meant allegiance. The commander looked at the survivor standing beside him. "You brought this upon us," he said quietly. The human nodded, his eyes burning with old fire. "And it is only the beginning." Beyond the dead star, more ships arrived, hundreds, thousands, filling the void with their presence. It was not just a fleet, but an armada hidden for centuries, waiting for a signal, waiting for one survivor's call. The galaxy would never be the same again. The alien crew trembled. They had saved a single human, but what they had truly done was awaken humanity's return. And the galaxy now stood on the edge of a storm. The void was no longer silent. It thundered with the arrival of ships that had slept for centuries. The human armada stretched across the stars, row after row of colossal warships. Each vessel was armed with weapons beyond imagination. Each moved with the discipline of predators, patient yet deadly. The alien crew could hardly breathe. They had thought humanity extinct, erased from history. But now they watched as thousands of warships rose from shadows. Legends had become real, and every empire would feel the weight of their return. The rescued human stood in the center of the bridge, his face calm, his eyes burning with old fire. "This is not the beginning of war," he said softly. "This is the end of silence." The Cathar Dominion fleet broke apart. Some ships were destroyed in the first assault. Others fled blindly into the dark, chased by human hunters. But the armada did not pursue recklessly. They moved with purpose, every strike clean and merciless. The alien commander gripped the rail of his ship. He had seen many battles, but never anything like this. It was not a fight, it was an execution. The galaxy's strongest fleets were nothing against this storm. On distant worlds, fear spread like wildfire. Signals arrived faster than leaders could react. The message was the same everywhere. Humanity had returned, and their armada was unstoppable. Old enemies remembered burning cities, shattered moons, broken armies. Memories became reality once more. Inside the alien ship, the commander turned to the survivor. "You said they never left," he whispered. "Where have they been?" The human looked out at the shining armada. "Waiting," he replied, "watching, rebuilding, hidden in the dark between galaxies." The crew gasped, for to hide such a force for centuries required patience beyond measure and will stronger than a tree. Empire they knew. The battle ended quickly. Cathar wreckage drifted across the void. Survivors scattered, carrying tales of terror back to their dominion. The human warships turned in formation, surrounding the alien vessel. One opened a channel. A deep voice filled the bridge. "You sheltered one of our own. For this, you will not be forgotten." The commander bowed his head. He knew that to be noticed by humanity was both honor and danger. The human beside him placed a hand on his shoulder. "You chose mercy when others would choose fear, and now you see what mercy has awakened." In hidden corners of the galaxy, leaders panicked. Some called for alliances against humanity. Others begged for peace before war consumed them. But none dared move quickly, for they had seen the power of even one fleet. And now there were thousands. The alien crew whispered among themselves. They no longer saw their human passenger as weak or wounded. He was the spark of something greater, a symbol that had called fire back into the stars. The commander finally asked the question that haunted him. "What do you intend now?" The human turned, his expression unreadable. "Retribution," he said. "Justice for what was taken, and protection for those who chose compassion." The word spread, retribution. It rolled across the stars, a whisper carried by every channel. Enemies trembled, allies hesitated. The galaxy stood on the edge of war. But for the alien crew who had rescued one lost human, it was already clear. They had not just saved a life. They had woken a storm that would not be stopped. Beyond the dead star, more human fleets emerged. Dreadnoughts the size of cities. Carriers releasing waves of fighters. Their banners burned with the symbol of Earth. The galaxy now belonged to them once more. And in that moment, the crew realized the truth. They had not rescued a survivor. They had summoned the return of an empire that the galaxy could neither fight nor escape. The hidden armada was awake, and it was only the beginning. The colossal axis shook beneath the march of human fleets. Worlds that once believed they were safe now trembled as the hidden armada revealed its power. The signal of one survivor had awakened the storm, and that storm moved with unstoppable force. The alien commander's ship followed at the edge of the armada. He and his crew watched in silence as humanity struck. Every battle was precise, every strike absolute. Human ships did not waste time with speeches or warnings. They descended like shadows, struck and vanished, leaving only ruins of enemy fleets. The Cathar Dominion was the first to fall. Their warlord roared and sent millions of soldiers. But his armies broke in days. Human war machines tore through his fleets as if they were nothing. Cities crumbled, fortresses shattered. The Dominion's proud banners burned under human fire. Across the void, other empires froze in fear. They had planned to unite against humanity. But when they saw the speed of destruction, they hesitated. No alliance could stop this storm. No weapon could match it. On the alien ship, the rescued human stood at the center of the bridge. He no longer looked like a broken survivor. He looked like a commander, a symbol of vengeance returned. The crew gazed at him with both awe and fear. They felt his presence like a flame, burning yet guiding. One night, as fleets moved toward another battle, the commander asked him quietly, "Why now, after centuries of silence, why rise again?" The human's eyes glowed with memory and fire. "Because we waited until the galaxy forgot," he said. "And now, they will remember forever." The next battle was unlike anything the crew had ever seen. A coalition of 5 empires had joined together. Hundreds of thousands of ships filled the system. It was the largest armada assembled since the old wars. They believed numbers would crush the humans, but they were wrong. The human fleets emerged from the dark. Their ships moved like blades, slicing through enemy lines. Every maneuver was perfect, every strike devastating. Coalition ships exploded by the hundreds, their formations collapsing. In hours, the battle was lost. The survivors fled, their screams echoing across channels. The alien crew clutched their consoles, unable to believe what they saw. "This is not war," one whispered, trembling. "This is judgment," another replied. The rescued human raised his head. "This is retribution," he said calmly. "Not for conquest, not for greed, but for the betrayal of our people, for the fires that tried to erase us, for the voices silenced too soon." The commander felt his chest tighten. He realized the truth. The survivor was not just a man, he was the living memory of humanity's fall. And now the voice of its return, as systems fell one after another, a message spread across the stars. Humanity did not speak to enemies, but to those who once showed mercy. To those who sheltered us, the message declared. To those who showed compassion when others gave us death, you will not be forgotten. You will stand beside us in the new dawn. The alien crew exchanged looks, realizing what they had become. Not prisoners, not outcasts, but allies of the unstoppable, protected by the very storm that terrified the galaxy. Meanwhile, enemy leaders hid in fear. Some surrendered without battle, sending envoys begging for peace. Others were dragged into the fire, their fleets torn apart before they could flee. Every act of cruelty they once committed was now returned to them. Every betrayal answered with fire. In the heart of the human armada, the survivor stood on the bridge of a massive warship. His image was sent across fleets, across stars. He was no longer only the man rescued from an escape pod. He was the symbol of humanity itself, the living proof that extinction had been a lie. The alien commander stood beside him. For the first time in his long life, he felt both fear and pride, fear of the storm unleashed. Pride that his choice to save one life had changed the galaxy. The war spread like fire across the stars, but it was not chaos. It was controlled, precise, inevitable. The galaxy had thought humanity weak, forgotten, broken. Now it saw the truth. Humanity had returned, and nothing would stop their retribution. The galaxy was silent once more, but it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence after a storm that had swept away fleets, empires, and old powers, and left only the shadow of humanity's return. The human armada stretched across the stars, their banners glowing with the symbol of Earth. For weeks they had crushed resistance, burned away betrayal, and ended wars. Now the fleets no longer moved to destroy. They moved to rebuild, to claim, to declare. On the alien commander's ship, the crew sat in stunned silence. They had witnessed battles that defied belief. They had seen empires beg for mercy, and they had seen a single survivor rise into a legend. The human they had rescued was no longer just a man. He was the voice of his people's return. In the center of the human armada, a massive war council was held. Leaders of surviving species gathered under the watch of human dreadnoughts. Some came trembling, some came in anger, but all came because they had no choice. Humanity had become the center of power once again. The rescued human stood before them, his presence commanding. He spoke with calm strength, his words echoing across the chamber. "We return not to conquer," he declared. "We return to protect, to punish those who betrayed, and to honor those who showed mercy." The alien commander's name was spoken then. He was called forward, his silver eyes shining with disbelief. He had saved one life in silence. Now that act was honored before the galaxy. The survivor raised his hand toward him. "This is the one who chose compass. Scion when all others chose fear," he said. "And because of that, he stands with us in the new dawn." The chamber was filled with murmurs. For no alien had ever stood so close to humanity's fire and survived not as a prisoner, but as an ally. The war ended quickly after that. Those who resisted were crushed. Those who surrendered were spared. The galaxy bent under the weight of humanity's will. But it was not endless destruction. For every act of retribution, there was also mercy. For every enemy broken, an ally was lifted. The alien crew watched in awe as human fleets turned from war to rebuilding. Worlds shattered by battle were given aid. Colonies left in ruin were restored with human technology. The galaxy realized the truth. Humanity was not here only to punish. They were here to lead. Still, fear remained. For though humanity spoke of protection, their strength was undeniable. Every empire knew that to challenge them again would mean total annihilation, and so they obeyed, willingly or not. One evening, as stars burned quietly beyond the windows, the commander spoke to the survivor. "You have your revenge, but what comes next?" he asked. The human gazed at the stars, his eyes filled with fire and sorrow. "Not revenge," he said softly. "Balance. A future where no one can erase us again. A future where compassion is stronger than fear." The commander nodded slowly. He realized that this was not just the rebirth of humanity. It was the birth of something greater. An alliance forged in fire, an empire built not only on strength but on memory. Across the galaxy, statues were raised, not of conquest but of survival, not of war but of endurance. And in many places the story was told of a lone human drifting in the void, of an alien commander who chose mercy, and of the unstoppable force that returned because of it. The survivor stood one last time before his people, his voice strong, his presence unshaken. "Home is not lost," he said. "Home is reborn." The fleets thundered in agreement, their engines lighting the stars with new fire. The galaxy had entered a new age, the age of humanity's return. The alien commander closed his eyes. He thought of the moment when he had first opened the escape pod, when he had chosen life over fear, and he realized that single choice had changed the destiny of the stars. The war was over, but the legend was only beginning, and from that day forward, the galaxy belonged not to fear, but to the unstoppable dawn of humanity.